All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to attempt to make a video here. I'm going to try to get on the PTR, but I haven't been having much luck on the PTR these days. My internet is absolutely terrible. It's the weekend here, but it's been bad for like a month or so now. Basically, it's a combination of Blizzard kicking me off the PTR on like a regular basis, and then the Chinese internet kicking me off the PTR on a regular basis, that we're not going to be here for very long. I just want to show you the actual build, the actual gear on the PTR, just in case you want to gear up one of these paladins and mess around with it. Okay, so I'll just scroll over it really fast. It's basically a three-piece ornamental set with the plus healing enchant. You can see the gems there. Obviously, it's just stamina all the way down. Stamina all the way down, stamina all the way down. Veterans Pendant of Salvation for the neck piece. Another ornament for ornamented for the chest. I do believe it's only the chest and the legs that are lamellar, but we do have lamellar here. So two of these pieces are lamellar just because we don't have a holy shock. So and we need as much plus healing to hit certain breakpoints. We'll talk about that in a hot second. So two-piece lamellar for the resilience bonus. We don't have holy shock, so we might as well do that. Then it's literally just ornamental and stamina enchants and stamina gems pretty much all the way down. The only time that doesn't happen is we're basically picking up plus healing. Oh, goody. Yes, oh, goody. Thank you very much. So this is as good of a time as any to talk about why the hell you don't see me doing arenas and making videos on the PTR. It's going to become kind of obvious. Fuck off. Dude, this is my second time trying to make this video. It's really pissing me off. Where the hell were we? Yeah, we were doing the gloves. Yeah, it's just ornamental all the way down, then the lamellar for the legs. You can see that the enchant on the legs is just pure stamina over like stamina plus healing. We talked about that a little bit. And then it's a combination of focus on stamina plus healing and MP5. We definitely want some MP5 on this paladin. And then trinkets are Brooch of the Immortal King, and then a figurine for more stamina, more intellect. Our two-handed weapon we're using is a Hammer of the Naru. Have fitted out with as much stamina as possible. Why? Because this thing has intellect on it. We'll talk about that later. This is a heal reckoning paladin, so the stamina points are, of course, 8 points in holy, so that we have 100% spell pushback immunity when we have 3 out of 3 concentration aura, which we do have 3 out of 3 concentration aura. Hodge stun is on a pretty long cooldown, but you don't really rely on Hodge stun all that much. We do have 5 out of 5 Argent Defender. We have 36 points into the Prot tree, 1 point in Holy Shield. For what it's worth. The 1 point in Holy Shield is really good against like a single rogue or a single hunter or like a single warrior that is attacking you. When it's double rogue, you would very much rather have an additional point in Holy Shield. Don't need 2 points in Holy Shield. 8 charges is excessive, but having 6 is worth its weight in gold. This is just a... the problem is that this is a trade-off between like having 2 out of 2 eye for an eye. Having 2 out of 2 eye for an eye, I think moves the needle under combat circumstances a lot more than having like a 1 point in Holy Shield and, you know, being like, okay, if I'm fighting double rogue, then I definitely want that extra point over here, blah, 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 blah. This makes you more well-rounded against like enemy spellcasters. Like basically when Holy Shield isn't doing anything for you, eye for an eye is. So it's just, you're kind of like hedging your bets there. I do have 1 misspent talent point. That is in Conviction. This talent point in Conviction should be over here. We don't actually have a high enough critical strike chance on our melee attacks to overcome enemy resilience rating. So this is literally a wasted talent point. It should be over here in Vindication. Vindication is going to do way more for you than just about anything else. It's something the enemy has to dispel if no other reason than to put a point into Vindication over here. If I could take 3 out of 3 Vindication on this build, I absolutely would. It might be the case that dropping Eye for an Eye and taking 3 out of 3 Vindication will move the needle more than taking Eye for an Eye. But, I mean, man, Eye for an Eye is going to be one of those things where if somehow a double Palm Pyro Mage team manages to like, kill you, if they both pop their burst at the same time and explodify you as a paladin if they catch you off guard. High chance your rogue will end up killing them anyways because of the sheer amount of eye for an eye reflect damage that they just ended up getting bitch slapped with. So I'm going to put my money on eye for an eye. So anyways, that's the gear. That's the talents. Blah, 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 blah. That's the BIS I could possibly do on the PTR. Now I'm going to get the hell off the PTR before it drives me absolutely fucking insane. And we're going to go actually look at a bunch of stats and shit that I found from actually doing it on the PTR. So you can test this stuff on the PTR, but there's just basically a bunch of stuff I want to talk about from all my playtesting on the PTR. We're going to bounce back between the Wowhead gearing, which you can see is almost identical to what the heck we have on the PTR over here. This is with some fire resist gear that I plan on adjusting the Paladin build a little bit. But the whole reason why I wanted to show you that gear on the Paladin, crackers. We could actually go back. I forgot. I wanted to show you guys the sword and board, like what you're using for sword and board. It's just plus healing, sword and board, and shield. I guess there are some critical things to showcase here still. So let's land really fast here. So first, I need to take off this. That can stay. Kings may or may not be here. So let's look at our stamina and our HP when we have a two-hander without any buffs whatsoever. You can see that we have 1,240, almost 4,500 HP. We got a shit ton of fucking HP is what I'm trying to tell you without any buffs, okay? The other important stat to take note of is how is our plus healing in this gear. Our break point for plus healing is minimum. We want our Holy Lights to be healing for 2,800. Ideally, we want them to be healing to like 3,000. So you can see that with the two-handed weapon, we are hitting our minimum healing breakpoints, even without having to go a plus healing one-hander and shield. When we are using a shield, we will be using a stamina. I might... I don't know if I want a shield spike. I think stamina is better. Technically, you could have like two shields, and one is like shield spike and one is stamina, but 9 times out of 10, the stamina is just going to move the needle more for you. But you're definitely going to want a plus healing shield with a crap ton of armor, and you're going to want a plus healing one-hander with a crap ton of armor. Preferably, we'd want the one-hander to be a slower one-hander, but, I mean, you take the best stat items that you can get. You can see that when we swap over here, our HP didn't go down all that much, right? We were at 12,450 HP roundabout, and now we're at 12,370 HP roundabout. I'm going to try to get a heal that's not a crit so you can see what the numbers are. So you can see that the plus healing has increased our healing to like, it used to be like a 1,900 average, somewhere around, I would say like a 2,850 average to like a 3,100 average, somewhere around there. We can drink a mana pot here really quick. Yeah, we want to drink mana pots. Yes, I know the server is fucked in the ass. Ugh. Okay, I'm going to get off this thing before it drives me nuts. Again, I already tried to make one of these videos, and I just can't look at the server anymore. Just fuck off. Just, bleh. All right, so the stats here are very, very similar to the stats that we see on the PTR. I wanted to show you the gearing and the stats for the PTR Paladin so that you can go playtest it yourself. It would be best if you go take the Heal-Reckoning Paladin and you playtest it in duels. I would advise staying out of the arena with it because its critical seal that it needs in the arena is currently bugged. That's why it's number 1 on the list to talk about right now, is that Seal of Vengeance is currently bugged. So if you take that build into the PTR arena, it's not going to perform anywhere near as well as it'll actually perform when they debug Seal of Vengeance. The build is designed to seal twist Seal of Vengeance and seal a command. But Seal of Vengeance on the PTR is currently doing some weird-ass shit. So the way it's supposed to work is... I don't want to bury the lead here. So, I'm not able to show you videos of me fighting in the arena right now, basically because the internet and the PTR keep kicking me off like a motherfucker. Even if I could get into the arena, Seal of Vengeance is bugged, so it's just going to be like absolutely terrible. Both these things in conjunction with each other might be a blessing in disguise for us paladins who are planning on going Heal Reckoning in TBC. Because it means that this build is basically going to be like a dark horse come TBC. If we get on the PTR, if I'm like, hey, everybody, get on the PTR, gear up this Paladin, and go do arenas and show everybody how good it is, that's going to give time for our opponents to try to, like, play around it or counter it or something stupid like that. Feel free to go do that if you want to. Like, I'm not going to stop you. Like, go wear that gear, go take it into the arena. But if you do, I would suggest going into the arena and just seeing how hard you are to kill. Like, I wouldn't actually try to kicking the crap out of people with the build and getting really high arena rating. And the reason for this is because the build is basically brain dead. Like, a semi-retarded monkey can get Gladiator and beyond with a Heal Reckoning build. It's probably the easiest. It's not only the best Paladin build for Arena by a metric mile, it's also incredibly easy to use compared to like a Holy Shock Paladin, and especially compared to like a Ret Paladin in the arena. It is so much more forgiving because you've got like 60% more effective HP than either a Holy Shock Paladin or a Deep Ret Paladin. On top of the fact that you're able to that increased HP lets you get heals off like way more comfortably. On top of the fact that you're just so much tankier, it's just like Jesus. On top of the fact that your sheer durability, we'll talk about that in a second when we get to the arena stat prioritization. But basically, it's like, do you have an auto attack timer? Do you have a seal twisting macro? Are you good? Can you seal twist? Yes or no? And can you find your blessing of sacrifice? If you can do that with a Heal Reckoning Paladin, a brain dead monkey could walk into the arena and get Gladiator with the thing. At that point, you're only really restricted by your arena partner. And even then, your arena partner isn't that much of a restriction because you're basically the best DPS Paladin that you can be as a Heal Reckoning Paladin. You're literally the best DPS Paladin that you can be. And simultaneously, you're also the best healing version of the Paladin that you can be. Do you do as much DPS as a Ret Paladin? No, you do not. But your sheer terrifying durability means that the enemy can't do DPS to, like, the best way to stop a Ret Paladin from DPSing is to do so much fucking damage to them so quickly that they're forced to stop their DPS and heal themselves. Or fucking kill them. Two things that cannot be done to a Heal Reckoning Paladin. If you're trying to force this thing to stop its DPS and go defensive for whatever reason, it's not really going to work. Number one, the thing can heal itself and its ally. Number two, the thing has like 60% more standing effective HP than a Ret Paladin. That's actually a much bigger deal than you would think. The reason why that's such a big deal is because a Ret Paladin is going to be running around with about 9,000 effective HP, maybe 10,000 if they put a bunch of gems in that have stamina and they're or something like that. But their experience is going to be that your enemies can do a shit ton of DPS for about 20 seconds. Actually, that's not even true. They can do a ton of DPS for like the first 10 seconds of combat. Then their DPS falls off for the next 10 seconds of combat. So we're at 20 seconds of combat. And then their DPS falls off a cliff after that point, after 20 seconds of combat, because that's when all the burst trinkets are definitely gone, right? So it's like at the beginning of combat, your enemy has all their CDs available to them, which means they do way more fucking a DPS within the first 10 seconds than they do, like, after the first 10 seconds. And then also after the first 10 seconds, the DPS trinkets are all starting to wear off. And, the burst trinkets, that is, are all starting to wear off. Whatever cooldowns they've activated are all starting to wear off. So their bell curve of DPS is basically spikes for the first 10 seconds and then begins to fall off rather dramatically after that. The reason why I bring this up is because you're in your brain, you're going to think that plus 60% increase in standing effective HP. Let me take a drink of water here. Damn it, man. In your brain, you're going to think that plus 60% standing effective HP means that you're going to have a 60% increase in the amount of time that you get to DPS on your enemies before they force you to go defensive and to heal yourself, or to, like, hide behind a pillar or run away or something like that. To basically cease DPS operations and instead be forced to do some kind of defensive action. But because of that bell curve, in reality, it's going to double the amount of DPS uptime you have on your enemy. Okay? Because it'll be like for the first 10 seconds of combat, your enemies are going to do 7,000 DPS to you that you have to mitigate somehow, which means very quickly they're going to force a deep rep paladin to have to heal himself or to stop DPSing and to be defensive, whereas the Heal-Reckoning paladin isn't going to give a shit. And then after that 7,000 damage, the next 10 seconds, you're only going to take 5,000 DPS or less, or HP worth of damage. And so 7,000 plus 5,000 is only 12,000 DPS worth of damage. This fucking Heal-Reckoning paladin has 16,000 standing effective HP. I shit you not. Not to mention heavy armor, and he can he can plus healing to heal himself and all that crap. He's still perfect. He still doesn't need to heal himself even after 20 fucking seconds of combat. Or maybe he's only now thinking, maybe I should heal myself. You know what I mean? So the Ret Paladin had to stop and heal himself inside of 10 seconds or go defensive. And the Heal-Reckoning Paladin is only starting to think about possibly needing to go defensive after 20 seconds of combat. In reality, he's just going to, both the Ret Paladin and the Heal-Reckoning Paladin are probably just going to keep DPSing until they need to bubble. They're going to hold off on bubbling till the last second. Then they're going to bubble. The Ret Paladin has to heal himself with bubble. The Ret Paladin's DPS basically goes to shit when he bubbles, whereas the Heal-Reckoning Paladin, due to Sacred Duty, for the next 12 seconds, his DPS hasn't been reduced in the slightest. If anything, his bubble causes him to gain DPS, because now he's not affected by CCs and slows and stuns and all that shit as far as his DPS is concerned. So the amount of DPS uptime that a Heal-Reckoning Paladin has on an enemy in 2's arena is absolutely fucking insane compared to a Ret Paladin. So it's on paper the Ret Paladin does more DPS. We did a previous video on this where we basically showed that the Heal-Reckoning Paladin, Seal Twisting Vengeance with command, has 70% of the DPS of a Deep Ret Paladin. But if Reckoning procs at any, if you got any kind of Reckoning uptime on the Heal-Reckoning Paladin, suddenly he has equal DPS or very close to equal DPS to the actual DPS Ret Paladin. And then if you factor in that it takes forever and a day for him to cease his DPS operations, and you actually force this fucker to heal, you forced him to go defensive, it's just objectively the better offensive paladin in the game. The only thing the Deep Ret Paladin does better than the Heal-Reckoning Paladin as far as DPS is concerned is short windows of burst. For short windows of burst periods, both Holy Shock and Deep Ret Paladin are superior to Heal-Reckoning Paladin. But the raw combat capability of Heal-Reckoning Paladin is absolutely fucking terrifying. He can stop at any time and just be like, yeah, I'm a fucking healer, check this shit out. Or he can just be like, yeah, I'm just not going to bother to heal anything because you guys keep attacking me and giving me reckoning charges. I'm just going to DPS until the end of fucking time. Oh, did you force me to bubble? That's cool. I'm just going to keep fucking DPSing because I have Argent Defender. So I only need one Holy Light worth of healing to be completely safe when this bubble falls off. Unlike that Holy Shock Paladin over there who needs to heal himself twice at this point. He needs to go for 2 Holy Lights. No, I'm just going to keep DPSing because my DPSing hasn't been reduced. Like, god damn. All right. So the point is that a brain-dead monkey could take this thing into the arena and do good. You're really only limited or restricted by your arena partner at that point. The other elephant in the room is how much better of a healer is it than a Holy Shock Paladin? Well, the Holy Shock Paladin in Arena is an amazing healer. The only thing that holds it back is that it's very easy to force bubble out of a Holy Shock Paladin, and a Holy Shock Paladin really wants to use its Holy Shock offensively, but he's often forced to use it defensively. Whereas, again, the Heal Reckoning Paladin takes way fucking longer to force the Heal Reckoning Paladin to bubble. He's DPSing the entire time, or he's just weathering the storm of interrupts while he's trying to get heals off. And eventually, since you weren't able to force him to bubble, because it takes a million years to force this fucking thing to bubble, eventually he's just free casting heals because you got no interrupts left. Because he's so tanky that you weren't able to get his fucking bubble out of him. He ends up becoming a better healer because he's very hard to force to bubble. And then on top of that, he's so durable that he can usually just outlast all the kicks and the interrupts and the silences. And then he just starts free casting in people's faces in the middle of the arena. And that's when you know you're fucked. When you failed to get out this thing's bubble, because Jesus Christ, it takes forever to get this thing's bubble out of him. He's weathered all the interrupt storms and silences and whatnot. And now he's immune to everything. You got nothing left. And he's just free casting in the middle of the arena and he still has bubble. Like, Jesus Christ. And that's on top. That's if he went purely healer mode in the arena. Like, no, I'm just going to stand here. I'm going to heal, right? Usually what he does is he tries to beat the shit out of anything trying to prevent his heals. So you go for a Holy Light, you eat the kick, you eat the silence, and then you start trying to beat the shit out of people. Oh, I can Holy Light again? Okay, cool. I'm going to go for a heal. I get interrupted. I start beating the crap. It's like a combination of the two. And eventually you can just start free casting heals, and they're like, why can't we make this thing bubble and blah, 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 blah. So in a weird roundabout way, he's a superior healer, and he's also brain dead. Which is the best combination. We want our paladins to be like any semi-retarded monkey can do well with this thing, and it's the best version of any paladin that we can have. So that's the other reason why I don't suggest taking him into the PTR on the private server right now. Not the private server, taking him into the arena on the PTR right now is, number one, our Seal of Vengeance is bugged. I haven't even talked about that yet. So he's not going to perform anywhere near as well as he should. Secondly is that we don't want our opponents figuring out what the hell is about to happen to them come TBC launch. And thirdly is you don't have to actually take this thing into the arena to get any kind of real PvP experience because of how brain dead and easy it is to use. You can take a Ret Paladin into the arena right now and get a very good understanding of its strengths and weaknesses and why the Heal Reckoning Paladin might be an absolute fucking monster. You can very easily go into the arena right now as a Holy Shock Paladin and see the strengths and weaknesses of a Holy Shock Paladin and get an idea of why this thing is going to be a monster. If you then gear up one of these things and take it into the arena and don't even bother to try to win, just see how hard it is for you to die and all the things that I'm talking about right now, you're going to start laughing your ass off and never have to do another arena battle again because you're like, okay, Pally time, I kind of believe you. But if you want to gear up one of these things and go play test it, be my guest. Probably the best thing to do would be to play test it in duels. You're going to see that, yeah, you're going to survive double rogue, no problem. You're going to survive Palm Pyro Mage with a little bit of fire resist gear pretty damn easily. Every other comp in the game just can't put this thing out of its fucking misery. It's an absolute war in a can. All right, so I don't want to bear the lead. Let's talk about how Seal of Vengeance sucks a cock. So the way Seal of Vengeance is supposed to work is that every auto attack you do has a percent chance of applying a Seal of Vengeance stack on the enemy. It has 5 out of 5 stacks, so it stacks up to 5 times. It's a 100% proc rate at 2.8 weapon speed, and anything beyond that is basically wasted. I tested it on the PTR. There's no concerns with the tick concerning, like, if I'm using a really fast one-handed weapon and resetting it really quickly. Does that improve my DPS, or does that lower the DPS of the tick? Because there's certain ways you can program a dot like this, right? You could program it so that it every time it ticks at 5 out of 5, or every time it procs, it not only resets the CD of it, but it does a tick instantly. That's one way to code it, right? And that would mean the faster your weapon, the more DPS you're going to get out of it, because if it procs a bunch of times, it's just going to tick a bunch of times, right? That's one way to code it. The other way to code it, of course, is it resets the cooldown, but it interrupts the tick. So under those conditions, I'd be having a conversation about how you want to get above or a certain weapon speeds to guarantee the tick before you set the cooldown of the thing on a proc. And interestingly, that cooldown timer is actually somewhere around 2.8 swing speed, because there's a slight delay on you actually hitting the target, right? So basically, there's like 0.2 or 0.3 seconds of a delay before you actually hit the target. So basically, the game has registered that your attack has gone through. It's already decided, it's already coded that the attack is gone through, is going to happen, but it waits like 0.3 seconds for your attack animation before it starts registering all the numbers. And interestingly, yeah, that would mean like 2.6, 2.8 weapon speed, somewhere around there. Anyways, no concerns with that whatsoever, because the Blizzard coding has taken the third option, which is this thing ticks every 3 seconds. Regardless of whether it refreshes or not. So it's just happily ticking away every 3 seconds, and it doesn't really give a shit whether it got refreshed or it didn't get refreshed. It's just ticking away every 3 seconds. So that's pretty cool. So no worries there. How it's bugged is this. So you can go test it on the PTR. Actually, maybe I'll try to get on the PTR. My sanity here. I'll try to get on the PTR really fast, and we can actually show you. So how the thing is bugged is very interesting. The way it is supposed to work is that at 5 out of 5 stacks, when the thing procs again, not only does it refresh the cooldown a timer on the thing. Yeah, I know you're not working, but that's my internet fucking it up. Not only does it refresh the cooldown on the thing, but it's supposed to do a tick immediately as well if it's 5 out of 5 stacks. Yeah, you can see my internet is clearly the one being fucked up right now. It's supposed to refresh a stack. It's supposed to do a dot tick instantly, but it's not a 5 out of 5 stack dot. I want to say it's either a 3 out of 5 stack tick that happens instantly, or it's a 4 out of 5 stack tick that happens instantly. I know for a fact it's not a 5 out of 5 tick that happens instantly. But for some reason on the PTR, it's a 1 out of 5 tick that happens instantly. It's like a 1 out of 5 stack that happens instantly, which is just like, what? Like, that's wrong. Okay, so that's the first big bug right there. Is once you're at 5 out of 5 stacks, any additional procs are only doing 1 out of 5 ticks. Which is wrong. It should be a 3 or a 4 out of 5 tick. On top of that, for some fucking reason, it is also critting. Like, that extra proc has a crit chance, which shouldn't be happening to my knowledge. And on top of that, the crit chance seems to be using spell power, which is also like, the what? And then if it wasn't weird enough, that crit has like 100% damage proc ratio, which is also like bizarre. So there's a bunch of stuff really bizarre. So you can see we're getting close to 5 stacks here. Okay, so we should have 5 out of 5 stacks. Now the next one's going to do the extra one. And you can see that 48 is the extra one right there. We're going to do it till it crits. That one resisted. That's not a resist. That's a miss. I don't have max hit rating. Okay, I need to keep this vengeance stack up. Okay, that was the crit. That 71 was the crit. For some reason, it's using spell crit, and it's doing double damage. Okay, so there's a 47. Let's get another crit here. 47. Okay, there's the 71 crit. So it's obviously using spell crit because my melee crit is non-existent. It's like 5. It's like 6% chance. But my spell crit is like 18% chance. So it's like whatever the fuck that is. We can tell that it's only a single dot worth of tick because if I put a single dot over here and we see it, it's going to be like 40. So it's bugged right now on the PTR. Is the TLDR on all this? Very, 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 very weird. Okay, let me get the hell out of here before I lose my goddamn mind. All right, so number one reason I'm not in the arena, even if my internet wasn't absolutely trying to murder me, is Seal of Vengeance is currently bugged. She is really bizarre right now, and your primary damage source on Heal-Reckoning is to twist Seal of Command into Seal of Vengeance. Most typically, you're doing a rank 1 Seal of Command to conserve mana into a maximum rank of Seal of Vengeance. The Seal of Vengeance, when it's at 5 out of 5 stacks, has an incredibly powerful judgment behind it, which is a massive increase to your DPS. That's one of the reasons why you're doing it. But, drink of water. Fuck. You're not twisting Seal of Righteousness and Seal of Vengeance on this Paladin. Seal of Righteousness and Seal of Vengeance twisted probably does more damage than Seal of Command and Vengeance twisted. Okay, mathematically speaking. But it doesn't do enough damage to justify the noticeable increase in mana cost of twisting both 2 max rank seals when you could just seal twist a rank 1 Seal of Command into a rank 2, a max rank Seal of Vengeance. I think Seal of Vengeance only has 1 rank, and it's its maximum rank, but I could be wrong about that. I think the way it is I remember you get like Seal of Vengeance for Alliance at like level 64, and then you get Seal of Blood at level 70, and then for Blood Elf Paladins, it's kind of the inverse. So for some weird reason, you have like downranking capability. Seal of Blood would just be Seal of Blood, but I don't know. Like, whatever. There's only 1 rank. On top of the fact that Seal of Command, when Seal of Command procs, it can also it can and will proc Seal of Vengeance. So if you're seal twisting, it means you're using a 2-handed weapon or a slow enough 1-handed weapon to make it worthwhile to seal twist. If you're in your like fast 1-handed spell power weapon, you're not even going to bother to seal twist. It's not worth the mana. What you're doing under those circumstances is you're stacking up 5 stacks of Vengeance, you're judging the Vengeance into the target, and then you're using a Seal of Righteousness. You're resealing Righteousness, and you're beating them with it. And then you're only, like, reapplying Vengeance to, like, get the stacks back up. Or you can just keep using Vengeance on them, like one of the two. But if you're in a 2-handed weapon, which is where this thing is really meant to DPS, you're seal twisting rank 1 command and max rank Seal of Vengeance. Seal of Command has a spell power ratio behind it, which actually makes it worthwhile. On the PTR in this gear right now, my white hits are hitting for about 600. My command procs are hitting for about 500. That is very common. Later, they hit for like 700 white attacks and like 550 command procs, or like 600 command procs. It's because Seal of Command has like a 30% spell power ratio behind it. So not significant, but not insignificant. But what really matters is when the Seal of Command hits the enemy, it also procs Seal of Vengeance, and that Seal of Vengeance is supposed to be hitting for like 160 or like 200 damage, like, somewhere around there, depending upon what phase you're in. So that Seal of Command proc is worth somewhere between like 700 additional damage to like 800 additional damage. It can also crit, but that's not really yeah, you don't have enough crit in the build, so whatever. That's what makes the twisting worth it, is that the additional that, and the fact that when you're twisting Seal of Command and Seal of Vengeance, you get to 5 stacks extremely fucking quickly for that much increased powerful judgment. But anyways, it's bugged right now. So Seal twisting them is fucking useless, other than to hope for a command proc. Like we're leaving a lot of damage on the table. On top of it's just bad. So I mean, like, I wish it wasn't bugged on the PTR, but it is. Drink of water here. Okay. So other weird things to talk about are the 2-ring. The 2-ring is on the PTR, and holy crap, that thing might be, I don't know why it's on the PTR. If I look on Wowhead, it says that the 2-ring is like a phase 5 thing, but then I look deeper into it, and it's like, it's a very low drop chance gotten from your fishing daily reward. So I don't know if it's just going to be in the game as a possible item that you can get from the very beginning. It's only a 135 item level, which isn't that much thicker than the other rings and stuff that you can get in the game. And it's all stats, so in theory it's not like amazing stat prioritization. But I went and I did a bunch of math on like what exactly is the value of these 2 rings on your Paladin over like the other rings. And the math came back that if we're not in the arena, the 2-ring is worth its weight in gold. It's probably the best ring you can put on your Paladin, like, period, end of story, if we're outside of the arena. So if we're like in 1v1 duels, the 2-ring is probably best. Having 2 of the 2 rings is probably BIS. If we're in open world for whatever reason, having 2 of these rings is probably BIS. And we're talking not just BIS in phase 1, but possibly BIS all the way to phase 5. Only in phase 5 would you even remotely consider replacing these rings, as near as I can tell, mathematically speaking. And this is basically for just about any Paladin, but especially for a Paladin that has a lot of intellect on them. We'll talk about that in a minute. It has to do with like how valuable the 22 spirit is on the ring. You can see there that I'm quantifying it as about 15 MP5. In reality, 1 point of spirit is worth 0.9 MP5, and that's without Blessing of Kings, which is insane. So, but you're never going to have 100% spirit uptick time while in combat and PvP, so you have to cut that down by like a ratio. But it's even cut down from like its whopping like 19 MP5 on, actually, yeah, 19 MP5 on spirit MP5 on paper. Even cutting that down to like 12 or 15 is still fucking insane. But we'll talk about that later. So these 2 rings are kind of nuts outside of the arena. However, if we get down to what's good in arena versus what's good outside of arena, which is the blue and the purple on this in this video right now, you can see that stamina and plus healing are so fucking valuable for the arena that you're kind of stupid if you're taking 2 rings into the arena as a Heal-Reckoning Paladin. But outside the arena, the MP5 and all the additional stats are just like, Jesus, take this thing outside the arena. Even though the plus 1% critical strike is technically a wasted stat on us, it's not that much of a wasted stat for what we could be fighting in duels and outside of the arena. That the spirit just makes up for it like 6 ways from Sunday. Right, so to put this in perspective, because I want to talk a little bit about spirit before we get into all, like, what's good in arena versus what's good outside the arena. Later on in the game, you can put jewels in your Paladin that will either give you 4 MP5, or they will give you 15 stamina, or they will give you 10 spirit. And the question becomes very rapidly, what is BIS, where, and why? And the answer to that question is that in the arena, stamina is the BIS gem, seconded only to plus healing. And then everything else on your Paladin is a very distant secondary consideration. Probably the third best stat for your Paladin in Arena is Intellect. Okay? So your stat prioritization for your Paladin in the Arena is Stamina, number 1. Then it becomes plus healing, number 2. Then it becomes, especially till you hit your breakpoints. Then it becomes, what is it? Intellect, just having a thick mana bar. And then only after all of that do we start considering, like, attack power considerations, what is it? Mana regeneration and stuff like that. However, in open world PvP and in duels, HP becomes a significantly less valued stat, and hitting your a plus healing becomes a far more valuable stat because plus healing is worth MP5. And then your mana regeneration over time, your endurance fighting capability becomes like your number 1 stat. Because it's up to you to try to kill people in the 1v1. Like, you don't have an arena partner to do the DPS for you. And your DPS is kind of really shit on this Paladin under those circumstances. You're basically an endurance fighter extraordinaire. And you're far better off leaning into that endurance fighting capability with, like, having spirit, gemming spirits or gemming MP5, or having a bunch of plus healing, and then allowing the plus healing to let you downrank your healing spells, because essentially you'll get more MP5 out of the plus healing gear and downranking your healing spells, and actually trying to get trying to live on MP5 and max ranking. Okay, but we can go through it. That's the TLDR about what we're about to go through. Damn it, man. I need to take a drink of water. This is basically the second time I've tried to make this video. And in the first video, I just ended up yelling at the PTR, DCing all over the place. So my voice is basically cracking and going at this point. But we're going to power through. And hopefully you guys just have to deal with this. Oh, yeah, okay. So arena stat prioritization and breakpoints. At a minimum, you want your heals to be somewhere, your holy lights to heal you, max rank holy lights, to heal you for between 2,800 and 3,000 healing per holy light, like at a minimum. That's for phase 1. In the later phases, it becomes like a 3,000 minimum. And then by the time you're in like phase 5, it becomes like a 3,200, 3,300 minimum for your healing. You'll notice by contrast that in the 1v1, there's an additional thing here where additional healing for your Paladin in Arena, all it really gives you is RNG protection. So if your enemies are getting really good RNG on their damage, your plus healing, all it really does is help counteract that. You can't really downrank in the arena comfortably and try to convert it into MP5 and endurance fighting. You can do that under certain circumstances while you're engaging in the arena. So if the arena devolves into like if your arena fighting devolves into a mana war, like an endurance fighting mana war, that's when downranking becomes your boy, and that's when plus healing gains its secondary benefit over RNG protection in the arena. But the vast majority of your fights, especially if you're paired with a rogue or a shaman, just aren't really going to get into that endurance fighting combat situation. But if for whatever reason you find yourself in a 1v1 in the arena, which will happen fairly often, believe it or not, downranking becomes a thing for mana efficiency. You start using downranked Holy Lights or downranked Flash of Lights, especially with your while you're in Argent Defender mode, because in Argent Defender you're basically gaining like plus 50% increased effectiveness on any heals that you're doing. That downranking suddenly becomes worth its weight in gold. But we'll talk about that when we're talking about 1v1s. Then lastly is HP equals DPS and survival and survivability. Talked a lot about why your DPS is like how valuable your HP is for your DPS. Doesn't help you in like a 10-second burst window, but in every other aspect of DPSing or healing, HP is king, HP is king, HP is king. That is why I'm spending time talking about minimum amounts of plus healing for your Paladin in the arena. I'm talking about the value of any additional plus healing past that point. But in reality, HP is your number one stat. And then the only thing that would cause you to not want to put 8 additional HP on your gear for the arena is if you have not hit your minimum plus healing breakpoint. Like, that's it. Like, if you haven't hit your minimum plus HP breakpoint, and as you saw on the PTR, we already hit our minimum HP breakpoint, even with the two-handed weapon, and we're definitely over and beyond the HP breakpoint for healing when we switch over to like plus healing gear. You're going to be doing a lot of combat with your two-handed weapon, so it was important for me to hit my HP breakpoint, my minimum HP breakpoint, my minimum plus healing breakpoint while wielding a two-handed weapon. That's why the two-handed weapon has like plus healing on it as an enchant and a bunch of other crap and blah, 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 blah. Did I even show the gear? I can't remember if I got on the PTR long enough to show you the gear. I think I did. Pretty sure I did. Huh. Oh, well, whatever. We'll do it again. Can't remember. All right, let's look at the gear here really quick. I'm just going to scroll over it so you can check it out. Nothing really to see here. Okay, definitely not taking any 2s rings into the arena. There's the stamina enchant over the stamina plus healing because I've already hit my HP breakpoint on the stupid thing. We currently have kings. So I think I could put HP on the gloves, but I went with the plus healing because it was like plus 10 stamina or plus the 35 healing and the 35 healing. I need to hit that breakpoint, basically. Yep, just scrolling over it. It's literally just stamina, fire resist for fire resistor for double fire resist mage. I went with the plus 150 health on the chest plate over like the plus 6 all stats. You could go either way, but for arena, 150 health, 100%. Outside the arena, plus 6 all stats. And then we got the bracers here, and of course we got the weapon with a bunch of plus HP and blah, blah, blah. Notice that the weapon enchant is plus healing at weapon enchant because we got to hit that breakpoint, right? If I press heal here, right, we got to hit that breakpoint, that 2800 max strength holy lights. Got to hit it, got to hit it, got to hit it. You can see we're just barely there. Every now and then we do less than it. It's like, what the fuck? Nope. Yeah, but then sometimes we crit, so it's like, whatever. The gladiator, the plus healing weapons, of course, have plus healing on them, and then more stamina. Here I have gear that I would swap out to for like open world PvP. You can see that rather than having the, I can just put it on really quick. Rather than having the cleft-hide leg armor for just raw stamina, we're instead sacrificing that for plus healing because now we want our HP isn't such a big deal, and we want plus healing for downranking purposes, for MP5 purposes. And then you can see that we're already, the plus 6 all stats happens to the chest. Also, the chest plate turns into an ornamental chest plate as opposed to a lamellar chest plate because we're devaluing resilience as a stat. Also, I want the full 4-set bonus in case I want to swap over to Holy Shock Paladin for being in the open world. But it's really about the plus healing for downranking and then the spirit or MP5 as opposed to the stamina. There's a great devaluing of stamina as we'll talk about here. Same thing happens to the shoulders for open world. We're devaluing the stamina. And instead we are valuing some form of MP5 and plus healing. And then lastly, the same thing happens to the bracers. The arena bracers have plus 12 stamina on them, but the open world bracers have 4 to all stats and then spirit, right? Let me make sure I'm still in the arena gear here. Okay, yeah. So we are in the arena gear. Sweet. Let's get the hell out of here before I lose my fucking mind. Holy shit. Get me out of here. Get me out. Get me out. It's like the opposite of let me in. The let me in meme. Oh, no. Okay. Now, there are no real breakpoints for your HP in the arena. There technically are breakpoints, like minimum breakpoints for your HP in the arena, but you're gonna blow past them. Like basically, it's like anything over 12,000 HP, just standing there looking pretty with no buffs on you. Anything over that in phase one, you're above and beyond your HP breakpoint. But there isn't really an end to the HP breakpoint because more HP on your Paladin just means more RNG protection. And on top of that, it just means more, like, plus a DPS uptime. So there isn't really there are minimums, but there's no real point where it's like we stop getting HP because we have too much HP. It's literally like, did we hit our minimum healing breakpoint, yes or no? And you're going to hit that pretty fucking easy. Then it becomes, do we have enough mana to, do whatever it is that we want to do? And then it's like, yes. And then after that, it's just as much fucking HP as you can put on this thing as is humanly fucking possible. Like, literally. So, those are your stat prioritizations for the arena and the reasoning behind it. Now let's talk about 1v1s, because this is what your life is going to look like in duels. This is what your life is going to look like when you get like open world PvP'd on. Like you go to mine this or mine that, or you have to kick someone out of a farming area to help to farm something, or farm modes, or you're fighting over this or that because, you landed on a guy who's mining a node. There's plenty of reasons why you're going to find yourself in 1v1s, both in the arena and outside of the arena. All right, so the first thing that happens in a 1v1 is that your HP breakpoint, your HP stat in general becomes incredibly devalued in favor of just mana per 5 efficiency. You still have your healing minimum breakpoint, and it is still identical to what it is in the arena. Interestingly enough, it's still identical to what it is in the arena. Don't ask me why that is. Basically, you have to hit certain minimum healing breakpoints in order to be able to, like, out-heal a bursting mage or out-heal a bursting class. Because if you can't out-heal them, basically you'll be heal, and then eventually you die, right? So it's like, no. Not only do we want to out-heal the incoming DPS, we want to out-heal the incoming DPS to a rather large degree. That way we're not spending, like, it's not like I heal myself for 30 seconds, out-healing the enemy while he DPSs on me for 30 seconds, and the only thing that stops his DPS is he goes No. We want to, like, have to heal ourselves for 10 seconds, and then we're back to full life, and then we're pressing W towards the enemy, right? We're re-engaging in combat. And that number of healing just so happens to match up with the amount of healing you need in the arena, because the vast majority of time you're trying to out-heal like 1.5 enemy DPS in the arena. So, what am I trying to say here? In the arena, this healing minimum is there because that's what you need to keep your partner alive if he's being DPS'd on by both a DPS class and there's also DPS flowing out of, like, a Resto Shaman or a Discipline Priest or a Resto Druid or a Holy Shock Paladin, right? There's additional DPS flowing in on top of the DPS that's already attacking him. And so you need to heal for about 1.5 of a DPS, of a DPSer's DPS. But in 1v1s, it's the exact same number because you don't want to, like, heal for 1 DPS worth of DPS. You want to heal for noticeably more incoming DPS so you can, like, I don't know, fucking go kill him. So you can actually do things. So it ends up being basically the exact same number. But then on top of that, due to the devaluing of the HP stat on your Paladin, you end up just wanting more plus healing gear in general. so that you can down rank the plus healing, or down rank your spells and gain MP5 from it. You're an endurance fighting paladin. Your goal is to drop low in the 1v1. Get to a point where you know your enemy doesn't have a lot of CDs left, where they don't have a burst available to them. And then you let your HP drop into Argent Defender mode, where every heal you're putting on yourself is gaining like a plus 50% healing efficiency behind it, because of the 30% damage reduction you're living in. And then you basically downrank a Flash of Lights. And you use a mix of downranked Flash of Lights and downranked a Holy Lights in conjunction with all this plus healing gear to become so insanely mana efficient that nothing can really compare to you from a mana efficiency perspective. You are like I've had open world duels with resto druids that we can't kill each other because we're both so insanely fucking mana efficient. The druid is mana efficient due to the fact that they have Innervate, right? And you're on top of a bunch of spirit on their gear, and you're just so insanely mana efficient due to a combination of Argent Defenders gains and then your plus healing and down ranking. And then lastly, okay, is that you basically want as much spirit or MP5 on your paladin as you can possibly fucking get your hands on. And it's a little bit of a seasoned taste thing as to whether or not you go the spirit route on your paladin for MP5, or you go like the mana route, like the MP5 gems for MP5 on your paladin. So if you're a very disciplined, if you're very used to worshiping at the altar of spirit regeneration on your paladin in PvP, the spirit stat is going to be worth noticeably more for you in endurance fighting than the MP5 stat. But if you're not a very disciplined paladin player, and you're just like pushing your buttons, the MP5 stat is still going to be worth its weight in gold, and it's a very close second to the spirit gear. I'm going to showcase that here for a second. The last thing to note when it comes to 1v1s is that Holy Shock is the king of 1v1s. Like, literally, it's probably the best 1v1 class in the entire fucking game. There's not a single class in the entire game that can actually beat a well-geared Holy Shock Paladin that knows what he's doing. Especially if the Holy Shock... Literally, all the Holy Shock Paladin has to do is find his resist gear and know how to swap into it against certain classes. And there's literally no class in the game that can beat a Holy Shock Paladin in PvP. Especially if they're geared properly for endurance fighting. The same thing technically holds true for a Heal Reckoning Paladin. There is no class in the game that can beat a Holy Reckoning Paladin in a duel. I don't even think Holy Shock Paladins beat them, but it might be the case that Holy Shock Paladins beat them, but the duel lasts like 20 fucking minutes, and the duel flag like times out at 10. So it's like, what the fuck are we even talking about here? I think it's just a case that these two can't kill each other. The only reason why Holy Shock is objectively better as a duelist than Heal Reckoning Paladin is that the Holy Shock Paladin has he has easier matchups than the Heal Reckoning Paladin. The Heal Reckoning Paladin requires you to be a higher skill leveled paladin in order to maintain high win rates against every class in the game. Whereas the Holy Shock Paladin, you can kind of be a brain dead monkey and get away with things. The only class that a Holy Shock Paladin even remotely struggles against is Palm Pyro Mage. But it's like find your fire resist gear and laugh at him type deal. So it's like find your resist gear and it's easily the best duelist in the game. Ret is hot dog shit in duels. Like, it is literally mid in duels. There are so many classes and so many specs that a deep ret paladin is just going to struggle against. And on top of that, a deep ret paladin, they might not struggle against them if they can wear resist gear. They might not struggle against them if they can wear plus healing gear, but good fucking luck convincing a deep ret paladin player to wear any of that shit. They just want to zug on the enemy and somehow win the day. And if you can convince them to wear such gear very quickly, it's like, hey, go Heal Reckoning or Holy Shock instead. You absolute fucking moron. So I'm sorry to tell you, but yeah, Deep Red is terrible in duels. You don't believe me? Go ahead and try to prove me wrong. Very quickly, you're gonna see that how bad it is in duels. It has mana issues. It has to stop its DPS very quickly and heal itself. And trying to heal itself is a death sentence. Wings can be spell stolen by every god or purged off by every goddamn thing in the fucking game. Mages can spell steal your wings. Warlocks can eat it off with their pet. Although you can turn evil on their pet and have it run away in fear. Thank God. What else can do it? I can't remember if. I can't remember. I keep forgetting if Hunter's Arcane Shot dispels in TBC or if that's Wrath. The other, and then of course, priests can dispel it, and shamans can purge it, and it's just like, God damn it, man. You'll have fun with it in 1v1s, and Deep Ret Paladin is really good for jumping people in world PvP. Like if you fall out of the sky and you just start attacking somebody as a Ret Paladin, there's a very good chance you'll have a better matchup than you would think. But what you really need to do is to aggro mobs in the open world to help you not be sheepable, get out of sheeps, blinds, get out of... I don't think it'll help you get out. It won't help you get out of Cyclone, but the mob will stop attacking you and go after the druid, so the druid can't just mount up and fly away, right? So you really want to engage people in the open world while you're dragging a mob with you. However, the Deep Ret Paladin is kind of up shit creek without a paddle if he's the one getting aggressed on. So it's just bad. Although it's a lot of fun to be out in the open world as a Deep Ret Paladin and just fucking murder the shit out of things. If you need to kick someone out of your farming area and subsequently you need to engage in 1v1 fighting, be holy, just gear swap and dual spec over to Holy Shock. You'll basically shit on just about anything in the game, and then go back over to Deep Ret and start farming again, would be my advice. What else is there to say? Okay, cool. So here we have my Paladin that I'm probably going to be in Phase 1. Some changes from the PTR is he does have a fire resist ring. He does have a fire resist neck piece. He has fire resist enchant on his gloves because he's already... and he has fire resist enchant on his helm. The reason for this is because this thing is still hitting very close to its plus healing breakpoints. And so I could sacrifice the plus healing on the helm. I could sacrifice the plus healing on the gloves. I could sacrifice the plus healing on the ring. I could sacrifice the plus healing on the neck. I could make all these weird little plus healing sacrifices and still be very close to my plus healing breakpoint. And this fire resist gear is probably just going to make it so that double Palm Pyro Mage isn't going to do anything. One of these Paladin builds is the one I'm going to be wanting to use in Arena. If I keep queuing into Palm Pyro Mage over and over again, like if I'm in that bracket of the arena where double Palm Pyro is quite dominant, this is the gear suit I'm going to be using. If we're in the higher arena brackets where double Palm Pyro Mage isn't really seen anymore, this gear is going to get swapped out for the stuff that you see on the PTR, basically. So if I'm gearing into Palm Pyro Mages, I'm going to be, this is what the gearing is going to be, and if I'm not, then it's going to be the gear you saw on the PTR. The other elephant in the room here, let's go Twin. You motherfucker, you. Let's go Naru. Okay, hammer the Naru. And then we want Twin. Okay, so the other thing, let's talk about what the Serpent Shrine Trinket is doing for me in this build. It's giving me a bit more stamina, which I really like. It's also helping me hit my plus healing breakpoints, like in an emergency situation, which is why I can technically afford having these fire resist rings and these fire resist enchants on here. Is because if I'm like suddenly find myself in a situation where it's like, oh crap, I need to heal my ally or I need to heal myself right now. I do not have time to switch over to a plus healing weapon or shield. I have to heal right the fuck now. Odds are I can just activate my Serpent Shrine Trinket as kind of an emergency, and then that'll easily get me to my plus healing breakpoint, so that I can put out a couple holy lights with the Hammer of Naru before switching over to like the one-hander plus healing, and then be perfectly comfortable with the situation. So that's one of the things that it's doing for me. The other thing that it's doing is that for offensive purposes, it's just good. Like, it's not great. I would rather have a haste trinket here. Like, Scrolls of Blinding Light would be technically better. But the fact that it's giving me stamina, and more importantly, it's giving me intellect, is making me feel noticeably more comfortable sacrificing the intellect on these two items here for MP5. So that's kind of what the Serpent Trinket is doing here for me. However, objectively speaking, Scrolls of Blinding Light might be better for emergency healing, better for offensive purposes. Scrolls of Blinding Light is going to give you like a 20% haste for like 20 seconds, 20% spell and melee haste, like goddamn. But I don't have a Scrolls of Blinding Light on my Paladin currently, and I'm not entirely convinced it's necessary. Odds are nobody watching this video is going to have Scrolls of Blinding Light. Yeah, so you get the idea. So Scrolls of Blinding Light, because it's a Blackwing Lair trinket drop. So if you have Scrolls of Blinding Light, definitely consider taking that over the Serpent Shrine Trinket. But for the rest of us, Serpent Shrine Trinket's kind of your boy. The other thing making me feel very comfortable about these fire resist items is that the Hammer of the Naru also has a very hefty chunk of intellect on it, on top of being the best stamina trinket or stamina weapon I can possibly get my hands on in the game. Let's swatch over to Twin Blade of the Phoenix here. So you'll notice that in Phase 2, you gain access to Twin Blade of the Phoenix. This is the only item that I would even remotely consider replacing Hammer of the Naru with. You'll notice that the weapon is it's the same weapon speed, so that's good for seal twisting purposes. It has 10 around about, yeah, that's like 10 more melee DPS, which is really fucking good. That is nothing to turn your nose up at. 10 more melee DPS is extremely good, especially in the context of TBC. It then goes on to sacrifice the intellect stat for a whopping increase of like 110 attack power. The critical strike on the weapon, however, is kind of a dead stat to us. We're never going to have enough critical strike on a Heal-Reckoning Paladin to get over our enemy's resilience gear. In World PvP, it might not be a dead stat for us, but in the arena, this is definitely the critical strike rating is definitely a dead stat for us. That's enough critical strike rating to have I want to say like 2.5% increased critical strike or some shit. I think it's 14. Critical strike rating is 1% crit in TBC. I could be wrong about that, but it's definitely 2% critical strike or higher. It does give us more stamina, though, and not an insignificant amount more stamina. Let me look at this. Yeah, it's like 12 more stamina on top of the fact that, you know, the gems are going to be better. But when I think about Twin Blade of the Phoenix, here are my thoughts on this thing, okay? Twin Blade of the Phoenix is probably not going to beat Hammer of the Naru, even in Phase 2 and even in Phase 3 and beyond, than in the arena than Hammer of Naru. So Hammer of Naru in the arena is probably still going to be BIS, but it's really hard for me to tell because it depends on how much I value the plus intellect over like the stamina and the attack power. So there's a really good... Okay, I take it back. I'm changing my mind. So in Phase 1... Hammer of the Naru is our boy. Hammer of the Naru is our boy. Hammer of the Naru is our boy. Come Phase 2, in the arena, we may or may not be replacing this thing with a Twin Blade of the Phoenix. The only reason we wouldn't be replacing this thing with a Twin Blade of the Phoenix is if we value the 37 intellect over the like 110 attack power and like the plus 10 DPS in this thing on top of the fact that, you know, this thing has got like 12 more stamina on it. So there's a lot of reasons to take Twin Blade of the Phoenix into the arena, but we have to have a high mana bar, right? What I'll probably be doing is I'll probably be taking Twin Blade of the Phoenix into the arena during Phase 2. But my Hammer of the Naru's gems will probably get swapped out to 10 Spirit or 4 MP5s. Okay? And then the Hammer of the Naru will become my open world PvP weapon. Or more accurately, my Hammer of the Naru will become my endurance fighting two-hander. So, for example, if I find myself in a 1v1 endurance fight in the arena, or an endurance fight for whatever reason in the arena in Phase 2, I'm not going to be wearing a Phoenix Blade. I'm not going to be wearing like a plus healing one-hander or anything like that. If I'm going to be using Hammer of the Naru all of a sudden, because this thing will have not only more intellect, which is a key component for spirit regeneration, but it's going to have a bunch of plus spirit on it, or it's going to have a bunch of plus MP5 on it. So for endurance fighting purposes, Hammer of the Naru is going to be my boy. For non-endurance fighting purposes, Twin Blade of the Phoenix is going to be my boy. And then for plus healing or plus healing endurance fighting purposes, you're just going to be using your Gladiator plus healing weapon. So that brings us to the last thing to talk about in this video, which is what exactly is the fucking value of Spirit on our gear versus, say, MP5. And here the math gets a little interesting, but we can definitely do the math on it. Okay. So let's do a hypothetical. All right. So let's say we have 10 gem slots available. And then those 10 gem slots, we have the option of either going for plus 4 MP5, which is what's going to happen later. So the 4 gem slots later on, it's going to be plus 15 stamina, 10 spirit, or 4 MP5. Where is it at? Yeah, or 4 MP5. Like, those are basically your 3 options for blue gems. MP5 plus 3 MP5. Right, like, which one of those is best? Well, obviously in the arena, the plus 15 stamina is king, so that's not really a question worth answering. But when it comes to 1v1 endurance fighting, which one is better? And I'm going to show you why the MP5 is going to be better for you if you're not a very disciplined paladin. But you're also going to see why the spirit gearing might be better for you if you are a more disciplined paladin. Okay, so let's say I have 10 gems that are all a plus 4 MP5. That's going to give me 40 MP5. I'm going to divide that by 5 to give me mana per second. This means that for every second of combat that ticks by, I'm gaining 8 mana from those MP5s on gems. Hold on a second. I'm like passing out a little bit here. I haven't eaten all day, so low blood sugar. Just talking too goddamn much. Holy shit. Breathe, motherfucker. Jesus. Okay, where are we at? Right. So, in my experience in Classic, in TBC, you can fight for about 40 seconds on your Paladin before you're, like, really hard on your Paladin, pushing all the buttons for about 40 seconds before you're completely Okay? With downranking and healing efficiency and worshiping at the altar of Argent Defender and blah, 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 you can extend that out quite a bit. But let's assume that worst case scenario, we're forced to go balls to the walls with our mana bar, and we're fighting ourselves within like 30 seconds or 40 seconds. So we're going to do, yeah. So in 40 seconds, we will have the MP5 will give us 320 more mana than we otherwise had, or would have. And then an additional 40 seconds beyond that would be doubling that. So we'd have like 640 more MP5 than we otherwise would have at the 80-second mark of combat, right? Let me see if there's actually a mana fucking option. Like, can I just, like, put intellect on this thing? I'm not even sure I can. Like, I'm not sure which jewel. Is it green? Green's a combo, isn't it? Yeah, green's a combo. So, assault purple. Purple is also a combo. It's red and fuck you. There's no way red is an actual stat. Is it? Fuck you guys. Healing, dodge. I want one that just says, like, plus intellect. I'm not even sure that exists. So the question becomes, is plus intellect better for endurance fighting capabilities? And the answer is no. The answer is no, but I need to prove it, so it's like, whatever. Spell hit, defensive rating, critical strike. Okay, intellect. Okay, 10 intellect. Okay, cool. Got it. I do believe intellect is still worth 15. So if I had 100 intellect times 15, it would equal like 1,500. So, as you can see, the MP5 is still not outperforming just plus intellect on our Paladin. That's for goddamn sure. It would need another like 80 seconds of MP5 regeneration to outstat just us gemming raw intellect, and that's not even considering that raw intellect will also increase our MP5 by our spirit regeneration intellect by a small amount. But I'm telling you right now that you can get into some really fucking long ass 1v1s in TBC where it's like, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, even beyond that, like versus hunters. A 1v1 versus a hunter can go on for like, 6, 7, 8 minutes. 1v1s versus resto shamans can go on for very long periods of time. Druids, it's going to be a very, very long ass fight. MP5 or spirit is the way to go over intellect. So let's look at the spirit. Let's say we have 100 spirit on our paladin instead of 40 MP5, right? The 10 gem slots are being used for 10 spirit apiece. This is going to give you almost 100 MP5. It's 100. It's over 100 MP5 with kings, and it's under 100 MP5 with without kings, and we just split the difference, and we're going to say it's 100 MP5. Each of these spirit points is worth 0.95 MP5. So 100 spirit is worth like an additional 95 mana regeneration per 5 seconds while not spellcasting, right? We still have to cut that down by a ratio. You're not going to have this spirit regeneration active at all while you're going balls to the walls and you're depleting your mana bar. But once your mana bar is depleted, it's very likely you're going to have 70% or 80% or more uptime on your spirit regeneration. So we'll take the lower of that number and we'll assume you only have 70% spirit uptime while fighting, while your enemy's out of mana and fighting, and while you're out of mana and fighting. So I gotta take 70% of this. So we have like 70 MP5. I need to divide this by 5. That'll give me mana per second. So it was 8 mana per second over here. It's 14 mana per second over here. But this was active during the entirety of the combat, right? This was active for the 40 seconds of us depleting our mana bar, and it's active for the 40 seconds of endurance fighting that we were already at in this equation. So I can only multiply this by the 40 seconds of spirit regeneration after the balls of the walls ended. And if I do that, you can see we have 560. So my point here is that the MP5 on your gear is still really fucking good. Like for the first 80 seconds of combat, the MP5 is better than the spirit stat on your gear. And on top of that, in order to get the value out of the spirit stat, once you run out of mana, you have to like worship at the altar of spirit regeneration. You have to be very conscious that you're worshiping at the altar of spirit regeneration. Whereas this thing over here, the MP5, you basically just downrank your Flash of Lights, and you live inside of Argent Defender, and that's how you get all your mana regeneration value out of that, which still kind of requires you to be like a more disciplined, higher intelligence level paladin. But what happens if it's like 40 seconds beyond this point? So 40 seconds beyond this point would be like another 320 mana regeneration over here. But then this one like doubles. And so you can see that the spirit regeneration is starting to pull away from the MP5. And then if we did it again, so now I don't even know what we're out to. We're out to like 180 seconds, no, 160 seconds worth of combat, which is we're still sub 3 minutes of fighting, but we're getting very like 180 seconds is 3 minutes of fighting. We're at like 160 seconds right now. So the MP5 would give us like 1280 mana regenerated. Whereas the spirit gear would add an additional what was that, like 520? I think it was. I think it's 560. What am I talking about here? 560. Yeah. So you can see that the spirit regeneration is starting to pull away. So that's kind of the weird trade-off here. I'm going to tell you right now that they're going to be virtually identical in performance, because the MP5 is going to allow you to downrank like a motherfucker, right? But the spirit gear is, if you find yourself in a true mana war, and you're going to find yourself in a true mana war versus a hunter, you're going to find yourself in a true mana war versus a resto shaman, you're going to find yourself in a true mana war versus a, what's the last one? A druid. Spirit is going to blow MP5 out of the water if you know how to worship at the altar of spirit regeneration. The reason for this is because I've been assuming that you're bad at, that you haven't been truly worshiping at the altar of your spirit regeneration. I've given you a 70% uptime in your spirit regeneration. If you're truly worshiping at the altar of spirit regeneration, you're going to have like a 90% uptime, or 80, 85%, 90% uptime in your spirit regeneration. Okay, so that's where the discipline thing comes in here. On top of that, you're going to be doing other things, especially for open world PvP. You're going to, I can jump on the PTR here really quick. Who the hell is trying to talk to me? That is my programmer friend. Okay, helping me learn to code. By the way, I'm still learning to code with Lua. I'm currently stuck trying to learn string manipulation coding. Basically, it's called string functions, but really it's just lines of code that make me manipulate strings in my game. I was like, yay. Okay, cool. So let's go over here. Sweet. So you can see on this Paladin right now, if I scroll over to, if I hover over the spirit stat, it's saying that, let's get rid of the kings. It's saying that it's got 95 spirit regeneration per 5 seconds. I've done the math on this. It's actually incredibly accurate to a 5-second spirit regeneration tick, both on the calculator side of things and in the actual practical. Like if I strip off all the gear and I do the math and blah 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 blah, I've done a bunch of testing. This number is incredibly accurate. So if I was to do the math on it according to like the WoW head, I would be taking my intellect stat. I would be taking this is for spirit regeneration. I would take the square root of that. Then you multiply it by the spirit stat, and this is where the value of spirit really starts coming in, right? I multiply it by the spirit stat. Then I have to multiply it by this weird like 0.018654 number that we did other videos on. Then this is how much mana I'm getting per tick, right? That's per tick. So that's every 2 seconds. So if I divide this by 2, I'll get every 1 second. And then if I multiply it by 5, I'll get mana per 5 regeneration. You can see that the 95 here on the calculator is matching identical to what it's saying on the tooltip, which if I was to strip myself of all MP5 gear, I guarantee you it would also be, I'd be getting 38 mana per tick, which is 95 mana per blah, 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 blah. We're clearly lagged out here because we're not regenerating mana. Welcome to the fucking PTR. Oh, I just want to scream at the fucking PTR, you motherfucker, you. Now I need to figure out if it's Blizzard trying to cuck me or if it is my internet trying to screw me over. Your gearing stat changes in the open world to value spirit or MP5. So you're going to want to wear rings that are either very heavy MP5 if you're going the MP5 route, or you're going to want to wear rings that are very heavy Spirit if you're going the Spirit route. That's where the 2 rings basically come into play. The 2 rings are by far the best bang for your buck. If you're going the Spirit regeneration route that you can possibly put on your Paladin, probably for all of TBC. Because their base, the 22 Spirit is worth like 25 MP5 on your Paladin with Kings up. It's worth 19 MP5 without Kings, so it's probably worth like 22 MP5 with Kings. Yes, you have to be disciplined with your Spirit regeneration, but god damn, is that like the most MP5 you could possibly get on any ring. On top of the fact that it also has intellect and strength on it, and stamina and critical strike, like sign me the fuck up. But then, of course, you have the other gearing changes, right? You start having more all stats on your Paladin's gearing here and there, which means more Spirit. And rather than like mana prime on your bracers, you go for like 4 or mana restore prime. You have, which is MP5. I think it's 6 MP5 enchant on your bracers. You go for 4 all stat on your bracers. Just because it's going to give you better total combat performance and you're planning on worshiping at the altar of Spirit regeneration. You have 6 all stats on your chest, so more Spirit regeneration, more intellect. Then you've got like all your fucking gems are like MP or like Spirit regeneration, blah 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 blah. Can we get back on the PTR so I can fucking showcase this? Like, for the love of God. My voice is going, so I'm starting to get really pissed off. If I keep talking anymore and I start really killing my voice, I'll actually get sick. Get on the fucking PTR, you ape. Like, what the hell? Okay, what... Fuck off. Alright, just... Okay, calm down. Calm down, calm down. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to activate Kings. No. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to activate a food buff. This will give me... plus 30 stamina and a 20 spirit. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to swap on over into my spirit stat gear, which could be better, because in theory we'd have a hammer of the Naru that also has MP5 regeneration on it. Fuck it, I'll try to get the rings. Maybe I'll lag out before then. Also, we're going to put on double 2s rings, just in case those are a thing in the fucking game. Fly, motherfucker, fly. This is the gem. No, this is Gems Vendor. Okay, Gems Vendor. Want some blue gemmers, and we want the spirit. 1, 2. Let's just get a bunch of spirits. Let's get the hell out of here. All right, so I'm gonna murder the crap out of my gear here a little bit with a bunch of spirit gear, so that we can like kind of sort of simulate what kind of gear you would be wearing out in open world PvP. Okay, apply. And then this would I would probably keep that, because I'd probably be a jewel crafter. Like, I'm not that stupid. Like, we're not that crazy. Your hammer of the Naru, of course, would be like 3 of these fucking things. There we go. Apply them. I don't think I've got anything I could possibly put spirit on. Oh, right. Would I want to enchant a weapon? No, because we're down ranking, right? I wouldn't want to. I don't know, man. I might even have plus because I want to heal, I would just switch over to the one-hander and heal if I was in endurance fighting mode. Yeah, so we would want a spirit enchant on our weapon. Which is going to be right here. Mighty Spirit. Okay, let's get the hell out of here. And just in case I forget, let's get the major healing one so I can redo it later. Plus 20 Spirit. I don't want to jinx it, but the... The PTR is being a very good boy. I imagine all the Americans are going to sleep now at this point. Okay, so no kings. Let's look. What the hell do you think happened to our spirit, or to our mana per 5? Take a wild fucking guess. 276. Let's kings. 319. Like, what? That is an absolute ocean fuck ton of MP5. And you might be like, well, how much MP5 is that really? It's like, okay, well, I mean, give me a second here. Let me throw some wizard oil on my weapon, which you would definitely have in like probably a duel or in open world combat. Let me do a Mighty Flask of Restoration, because I can just pop that whenever the hell I want, or, you know, whatever the equivalent of it is. And I'm going to do my best to empty my fucking mana bar here, and we're just going to take a little bit of a look. Have a little bit of a look-see. Oh, wait a minute. I know what to do. Schwink. Perfect. All right. Let's do the mana per 5 test. I can get one more rank 1 here. Okay. So now we're going to let this seal fall off. I'm going to see what our mana looks like afterwards. So now our Spirit Regeneration is kicked in. And it's a bit of a doozy. Okay, so already we can Holy Light ourselves. No problem. That's another important breakpoint is if I didn't Holy Light myself, how long do I need before I can Holy Light? That is a fuck-ass ton of mana. So in 30 seconds, we regenerated however many Holy Lights. That's a lot. That is buku mana. All right, come on. One more Holy Light. And then we need to completely empty this thing. Okay, so I'm going to do like the completely empty test. So there's 2 tests that I like to do. The first test, I'm having trouble outpacing my seal of... Okay, thank God. So now I'm spamming Holy Light. I want to know how long it takes me to regenerate enough mana to do a Holy Light. This is a max rank Holy Light too. This is 840 Holy Light. Like, how long is it going to take me in this gear? I think we DC'd. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That is it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I suppose I should be happy with what we got out of that. Okay. Let's do it again. So, when I'm in MP5 gear and I try this test, I end up with like 1,200 mana to play with in those 30 seconds. The amount... That's my internet. The amount of time it takes me that I have to wait before I can cast like a down-ranked Holy Light or a down-ranked or max-ranked Flash of Light is rather extreme. Not so much for the MP5 because, you know, the MP5 is pretty quick to give me a nice solid Flash of Light to cast, but it's not very quick to give me a Holy Light to cast. Jesus, it's going to take me a million years to end this. So let me get my hands on a down-ranked Holy Light here really fast. So if max rank, I do believe you want to use like a rank 9 when you're in endurance fighting mode. It really depends on your spell power level. But we'll just see what it tries to look like. It's going to take me a while to outpace the amount of plus. Well, I guess I don't have a lot of MP5, so it won't take me too long. Come on. Let's do it. Okay, cool. Now I need to try... Okay, cool. So we're just going to sit here and wait until... How long does it take us to generate the 660 mana it takes for us to do a Holy Light? Like, let's say this is like, oh crap, oh shit, oh geez. Didn't take us very long. Like, under 15 seconds to do that, like, what was that? Like a 2,000 fucking heal? What happened to me? My actions? Well, yeah, what happened to me? Holy Light... and of course you would switch over to the one-hander and the sword to heal yourself. Yeah, that was like a 2,100 fucking heal. Man, that's juicy. And like less than 40, that is some endurance fighting monstrosity right there. Holy crap. I'm going to want Spirit on my gear. I'm probably also going to have to buy some 2 rings. I'm going to make some buku gold to buy some 2 rings or something. But moral of the story is the Spirit is doing work over the MP5 if you know how to use it. Like, god damn, is that juicy. So yeah, like I said, when I was trying this test with like a bunch of MP5 gems and like the MP5 rings and stuff, even with like the flask and the MP5 wizard oil and just doing my best to go all out on MP5. When I did this test, I had like 1,200 mana. So when I did the out of mana, you didn't DC, but you fucking lagged, didn't you? All right, 1 second here. Okay, so we're doing the not doing anything for 30 seconds test. I had 1,200 mana with the MP5 gear. Fuck you. Fuck your whole family. Fuck. I'm going to end the video here. Deus fault. Just know that when I tried this, I'm just gonna. The power of autism compels me to stay here, like for reals. All right. Okay. Cool. We're done. So let's do this test here. Just give me a 30. Just give me a 30. 30. Just hold together. Hold for 30 seconds, you piece of fucking shit. I'm yelling at either Blizzard or my internet or some combination of the two. Okay, so I already have more mana than I had with the MP5 gear. How much is it? Is it like 2,400 fucking mana? It's definitely 2,000 mana. Okay, yeah, so it's like 2,100 mana. God damn, that's sexy. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I love it. Beautiful. Beautiful. So anyways, if you know how to worship at the altar of spirit regeneration as a paladin, and you know how to, and you're aware of just how important it is to learn endurance fighting as a heal reckoning paladin in 1v1 fights, the spirit gear, the spirit stat on your gear is just so fucking juicy. So if I'm out in open world or I'm doing duels, you better believe it that I'm going to be wearing gear that's got spirit on it. Oh, yes. And what's interesting is the MP5 gear will do better because those gems are only like they're going to go from 8 spirit to 10 spirit in phase 3, whereas the MP5 gems go from 3 MP5 to 4 MP5, which is a noticeably large. Is it both 25% increase in the amount? No, it's a 33% increase in MP5 versus a 25% increase in spirit. On top of the fact that you're gonna yeah, but that's not even true. So fuck. So I was trying to explain that the MP5 gear will be worth more later in the later phases, like phase 3, because going from 3 MP5 to 4 MP5 on your gems is more valuable than going from 8 spirit to 10 spirit. But then I remembered that the spirit regeneration stat is a mix of your intellect square rooted multiplied by your fucking spirit stat. And so because your gear just has more and more intellect on it as the phases come out, the spirit stat kind of scales better than the MP5. So I mean, I'm going to be spirit statted. You bet your ass I'm going to use spirit stat, and I'm going to fight my enemies down into mana war territory, and then I'm going to let the spirit gear just do the talking. And I'm going to run the fuck over people. I have videos on this channel of me on private servers dueling mages, dueling. They're very old videos back when TBC was out back in the day. But you can very clearly see that the mana war start happening. And I was using MP5 gear back then. I wasn't using spirit gear. But man, oh man, am I going to use spirit gear in TBC? You bet your ass. If you go watch those videos, they're very insightful. Like all the guides on how to beat those classes are still completely viable. But know that I was a keyboard turning clicker back then. I'm still a keyboard turner, but I'm not so much of a clicker anymore. So you might be like, find it atrocious that the gameplay. But the fact that I'm still beating the crap out of everybody speaks for itself. So anyways, I'll end the video here, and Deus Vult.